Hey guys, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today and also have one of my favorite people here today, Chaz Dunwoody. And of course, I love the Regal Wings product. Many of you guys know that I used Regal Wings quite a bit when I was a travel advisor. I absolutely love the service and all of the offerings that they have. So I'm excited to have them on here today. Before we get started, I wanted to just mention a few things. We are recording the call, so you'll be able to watch the replay on our YouTube channel. You can type any questions in the chat and we will communicate with Chaz either during or at the end of his presentation. And also, please watch your inbox, guys, because we have emails scheduled to go out. I want to say it's either Friday evening or Saturday morning. We will be releasing the full DOT guide, which is included with all membership plans. It's going to include delineation of the rules, email communication for your customers. The terms and conditions are going to be updated, internal controls checklist, marketing messaging. Regal Wings has also contributed to a portion of that guide on how they will work with travel advisors when you are booking services with them. There's information on travel insurance and other great tools. So please watch your inbox. We will be releasing everything within the next couple of days, and you'll want to make sure you have all of your communication updated with your customers when the rule goes into effect, which is October 28th. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Chaz, and I'm going to let him take it from here. Thanks so much for being here today, Chaz.
Awesome, Sheila. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks so much everybody for joining us here this morning. My name's Chaz Dunwoody. I am the Director of Sales here at Regal Wings, and we're so glad to be partnering with Travel Industry Solutions. It's a great tool overall, and I think it's a great kind of concept that Sheila and the team have come up with to assist you, especially with this DOT documentation. On the Regal Wings side, it definitely took us it gave us some perspective on how much information is out there and really how consolidating this is such a great tool for you. What we also have included on our side within the documentation with Sheila and Travel Industry Solutions are pretty much all of the rules for airfare, air consolidation, refunds, merchant of record, and so on and so forth with the new DOT ruling. So it gives you a great perspective on what you can expect, how things will go moving forward, and obviously with the legality of everything as well. It's a great tool and resource that way. Anyway, so Regal Wings, we are an air concierge service that has been around since 2006. There we go. So we provide a unique service as a concierge, an air consolidator provider, 24/7 assistance with a full suite of product for all of your clientele's airfare needs. What we do is maximize your time, maximize your ROI, and maximize the best depth of savings for your clients when it comes to airfare. And I know this is one of those unique perspectives in the industry just because not a lot of clientele and advisors are aware that you can really take advantage of these great opportunities for you within the air consolidation, air provider world, just because a lot of advisors and so on and so forth don't believe that this is a great tool, or really kind of can be a detriment as well, just because there's red tape and kind of a lot of faux pas that are included in the connotations of what an air consolidator is. So as a whole, Regal Wings is a unique niche product as well. So we do not offer air everywhere, and we'll kind of talk about why. But what we focus on and what we really have developed in a fantastic niche in is we offer international premium cabin air. What does that mean? So premium cabin will be premium economy, business, and first class air. Long haul travel, international. So flying to Europe, flying to Africa, Asia, South America, et cetera, that way. Places we do not service on our FIT individual travel basis would be the Caribbean, domestically within North America, Mexico, and Hawaii. Unfortunately, even if you have clientele from the East Coast trying to go to Hawaii, the routing is still seen as domestic, so there's no way of getting around that. We also are a white glove service for you, and really a great advantage for you as well in terms of time savings. So as a whole, Regal Wings really wants to make sure that you are brought to peace of mind. And love kind of starting with this quote. So over the last few years, I've relied on Regal Wings for my luxury clients' flight needs. I keep coming back to Regal Wings for several reasons. The customer service is absolutely top notch. The ease of quoting and booking is crucial, saving me valuable time. Plus, my clients are constantly and consistently impressed with the amazing fares Regal Wings agents find. They truly make me look like a hero every time. That's from Amy, a cruise planner. And we really are a unique brand as we solely work with the travel trade. So you don't have to worry about your clients coming to us directly. And how it works with vetting our process is once you're onboarded and registered with Regal Wings for the first time, there is an onboarding process that looks into your credentials. So your IATA number, your true number, your ARC, so on and so forth, that will allow you solely to access our service. Jen, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. So with that being said, once we've kind of realized that you are an official travel advisor, you will then have access to our rates and our systems. What we can develop for you is a white labeled website with your agency or your host agency information on it. From there, you can submit quotes via that resource. But once you do so, the first time you submit a quote, you'll be contacted within 30 minutes to an hour by one of our reservation advisors. And Regal Wings is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. And we want to, during the onboarding process, discuss your business, discuss where you're located, and discuss what your air knowledge and previous experiences, just because we can kind of walk you through how this would work, how situation A, B, and C would work. Just because generally, if you've worked with a GDS in the past, or kind of another air program, there is a little bit of kind of je ne sais quoi that we are a little bit different, but we also do set up in a really personal fashion. So once you're contacted by the reservation advisor, we then pair you up individually with the reservation team. So I live in Seattle, so obviously I would want someone who's working 9 a.m. East, 9 a.m. Pacific to 5 p.m. Pacific to maximize my time, or 6 p.m. Pacific, given the fact my normal business hours would be during that time frame. Secondly, you then have a full concierge team with Regal Wings to then maximize your time, your efforts, and looking for airfare, just because it's probably one of the most time-consuming pieces for advisors and clientele, and it comes with some of the lowest ROIs, rather than looking for cruises, tours, safaris, FIT, where the fruits of your labor kind of warrant a larger commission split. Sometimes with us, it's a little less. So what we do is we do that work for you. So let's use a river cruise from Munich or what's somewhere around there to Budapest as the example. Regal Wings really kind of is looking for extended partnerships as well. We have just partnered with Riverside Luxury Cruises to be their official air partner. We continue to look for air supply and other DMCs and so on and so forth that partner with us as an air program. So let's say clients are flying from Seattle into Munich, and then from Budapest, and let's say they're doing a post in Nice, and then coming back to Seattle after that. What we can do there is once you kind of send the first quote over, we then will get back to you within 30 minutes to an hour with 4 to 6 quotes via email, sending you what our rates are available on those dates. If your clients are flexible, this gives us a little bit more of a opportunity to dig into our net contracts, our contracted fares, to see what we can find to maximize not only your time, their budget, and also your maximize of ROI as well. So if they then want to kind of start moving things around, we can do that for you. One thing to keep in mind, the long haul travel sections, so the Seattle Munich flight or the Seattle connecting via somewhere flight needs to be in that premium cabin air. Intracontinent, if they, let's say they wanted to do that Budapest Nice flight in the economy sector, we can do that. It's as I mentioned, we just have to be able to do the long haul travel in the premium cabin space. So after, let's say you want to go ahead and move forward with the booking, we then will send you over a secure booking link where you enter your agency information, your direct information, your host agency information if you're a part of one, your client's information, including legal names, passports, frequent flyer numbers, TSA pre-check number, and everything that that you would want to enter. Just because one of the faux pas with the consolidator world and their provider world is clientele will not receive their full benefits if they work with us, which is not true. They will receive their full spend, all their miles, and also all the amenities that they would be booking normally. So for example, let's say they're booking a Q suite with Qatar Airways, and going, let's say, to Johannesburg or somewhere in Africa for safari, and they book one of the Q suites, which comes with chauffeur service from your client's home to the airport. They also will be picked up plane side by Black Card, taking them to the next taking to their next terminal if they're switching terminals, and then Black Card service upon arrival to their destination. This is all stuff that will be included if you do book with us, as it would be working directly with Qatar Airways that way as well. During the booking process as well, if you're booking in a net environment, we will show you the markup potential of the commissionable rates as well. We'll go into that a little bit more in the next slide. We'll kind of break down that way. So you have immediate return on your investment with us as well, given the fact that commission is paid out 48 to 72 hours after your client's purchase. One thing to keep in mind with that, if your clients do decide to cancel, that will be recalled. But the ace in the hole that Regal Wings has to offer is our service and our 24/7 assistance as well too. So what we have to offer there that's unique and different is we are one of the only air providers. Sorry, excuse me, allergies are going a little crazy this morning. One of the 24/7 services, the 24/7 service that we offer is complimentary. So this is available to you as an advisor at any time. So if your client has an emergency, let's say they fall and let's say they break a leg or something a couple days prior to their trip, you can call us whenever saying, hey, we need to figure something out for my clientele. What can we do? But the other part that's really fantastic is this 24/7 service gets passed to your guest during their time of travel. So let's say on that routing for the river cruise, if you go Seattle to Paris to Munich, and then let's say it's delayed in Seattle, there's an air traffic kind of a stoppage, or they get diverted a little bit, and then they land in Dugal late to miss their connection. We will provide you with FAQ documentation of how to have your clients contact us. We have WhatsApp numbers, we have phone numbers, email, so on and so forth. That is manned 24/7, 365 by a Regal Wings employee. So you don't have to worry about that frantic phone call coming to your home office or your office between the hours of 12 a.m. and 7 a.m. because they have that back-end support calling us. So the scenarios for your clientele calling us, there are two major options of how this works. If the booking goes under airport control, which means they're delayed due to weather or so on and so forth, they misconnect due to that situation that it's out of the airport's control, the airline has to reprotect that guest on flights moving forward. The client doesn't automatically have to accept initially what is presented to them, and due to some airline rules as well. So let's use that same flight example. Let's say they're going from Seattle to Paris and it's on a One World partner. So they fly American Airlines there. The legal rules are in that next 24 hours, they would have to be reprotected on a one world partner. So BA, American, what have you, intra-Europe that way too, in the class of service that was booked. So our once they call us, because the fact we can't drill into the booking at this point because it's under airport control, we would be able to list a roadmap for your guests and kind of talk them off the cliff saying, hey, these are the flights you can get on. These are the flights you can talk to the airline desk once you arrive and request this. If it's more than a 24-hour push in the future, they have to reprotect you on any airline that gets you there within same day or that 24-hour time frame. So they might have to pivot you over to KLM or Lufthansa or something of that nature, just because that is stipulated in the airline rules. And we will walk you through that process with the clientele. We can also three-way call you if you want. Something that is sometimes some people do prefer that. If the booking does not go under airport control, we can actually go directly into the booking and reissue tickets for your clientele before even going to the airline desk too. So in a nutshell, our main product is a concierge service that finds our contracted and net fare rates that are commissionable to you that have 24/7 service built in. So it's really a great overall product suite in that nature, and we'll kind of go over that a little bit more moving forward here too. So this is an example of how we really have a great opportunity not only to offer your clients reduced rates, but also a great way of a return on investment for you as well. So what you're looking at here are flights from Houston into Auckland and return from Sydney. So it's based off of a Australia, New Zealand luxury cruise, where we have a net fare advantage versus other airline consolidators, and then looking at that compared to a published fare from the airline. A net fare is generally available for your clientele right as the flights are released, and then all from 45 days into the time of booking. The reason you see these flights, using a cruise term, as my background is very heavy in cruise, is they want to base load that plane. They want to, when the first class cabin becomes available, they want to sell as many seats as possible to then drive up the cost to then make their profits later in the cycle of the flight. So what you are looking at here, so Regal Wings has a net fare of around $8,600 for this flight. The the published fare is $10,000 from the airline directly. So the commissionable opportunity to mark up is around $1,400 for this flight. What I would recommend doing, and this will be walked through for you from our reservation team, I would recommend marking this up about $1,000. The reason for that is your clients will then have a $400 savings on this. Then you also earn $1,000 of commission per ticket. So it's really a great opportunity that way. Looking down the list here, so the emergency support is included, change processing fee and refund processing fee. Reach out to me for those. The change fee is something that can be negotiated. The reason that we have put that in there is if clients decide to not travel, that is something to keep in mind. If they just move the flight, that's okay. We can work with that. But then looking at even a competitor of ours, you're only looking at a $400 markup for the opportunity for commission. Then there is a $50 per ticket per person emergency support fee. So let's say it's a group of 4. You're now incurring a $200 charge every time you call them to make any changes to that booking for emergency support. With us, it's included and we expedite this process. If you're booking direct, you're paying $10,000. You're not making any commission. There are no services that, even if you have an elite line, that can guarantee that you'll be getting through in a timely fashion or so on and so forth. This also is applicable, let's say during the holidays. Let's say there's snow or something of that nature that's going on. We're a major opportunity and time saver for you as well. One thing to keep in mind with this too, so let's say your clients are booking and this $8,600 net fare becomes available. You do not have to mark this up. So rather than, let's say, marking up the airfare cost, you could then pass this $1,400 savings per person to your guest. Let's say they want to upgrade to a higher cruise category or a higher hotel category, or more expensive tour options where the commission level is higher. It's something to keep in mind for you, just because if you find a lower cost airfare for your guests, you do look like a rock star, and how you use that can be very beneficial, not only for you, but also for them, just because this is a unique sector where, like I said, if we kind of get creative with it as well. And that kind of brings me to some unique solutions of using us as well. So in the FIT sector as well, given our predominant business is flying into Europe, using, let's say, a 2-week FIT trip to Italy is generally something that can be beneficial, working with Regal Wings first, just because if we find the better ports of entry and exit, rather than piecing the whole FIT trip around one already dedicated time frame, if we have a month time frame to say, hey, if you fly into Rome and out of Milan on the 2nd of November and then return on the 19th of November, or in that time frame, we can kind of see where the best ports of entry and exit are. And if we're able to save your clients money on the airfare sector, you can either use that as a markup potential with us, or use that to then say, let's say, upgrade them in Venice at the Bauer Hotel or something of that nature, where the budget is expanded and also you are looking like a rock star there. Secondly, if anything has airfare built in, my background is in the luxury cruise company. If you pull out the non-use credit and then look at working with us as well, looking at kind of weighing the options and so on and so forth, you might be earning more commission that way. Another great opportunity is tour. We actually had a group going to Croatia on a luxury tour operator, and the advisor had reached out to us for something separate, and we booked them, I don't know, other clients into Australia, and then one of the reservation agents said, hey, do you have any other upcoming travel that has airfare built into it over the next year? And they obviously said they yes, brought up this Croatia tour, where we then found them airfare that was about $4,000 cheaper than they would have had it with the built-in tour operator, and they actually made $5,000 of more commission because it was a net fare, and they were able to mark it up and even save the clientele money. So there are opportunities out there as well. So keep that in mind. Really great for safari as well. Africa is generally a challenging place for airfare. Our contracts are extremely strong, and also our nets at the beginning of the year next year are going to be the best they've been since COVID. So looking at Australia, Asia, long haul travel as well. One thing with Regal Wings too, once you purchase with us, the transaction on your client's credit card shows as a purchase from the airline. So it doesn't show Regal Wings, etc. that way. I would always recommend, as I mentioned, say you're working with us, just because it gives another level of professionalism to you, saying, hey, I'm working with a great partner that offers this service. You have the opportunity to add upwards of a 4% markup on every single gross fare that we offer. That will come through as a separate charge. So if you're not charging a service fee internally, you can charge a service fee to your client saying, hey, this is the concierge fee that's charged from this brand, etc. That way, that goes directly into your pocket as well. So something to keep in mind there. Benefits for your agency. So it's a stress-free air solution, group travel management we'll talk about in a moment, and then training, which is what we're going through today. And this is kind of what it looks like. So going to regalwings.com/quote, this is what our website would look like if you go through this routing rather than going through the email section that kind of I have recommended, saying, hey, if you need airfare moving forward, just send one of our reservations who you're paired up with an email, and they'll get back to you shortly, rather than going through the rigmarole of a website, of a GDS, or so on and so forth. Second is one of the emails that's coming through of what it would look like as the options. 3 is the secure booking link showing all the information of your contact information, clientele. And then 4 is an example of the e-ticket, the travel advisor invoice, consumer invoice, and then the FAQ that'll come through as well. The PNR, the record locator, is just exactly the same thing as working with an airline. You would get the 6-digit code to log into your clients, to log into their flight as well, to have that moving forward too. So the other 2 elements that have a full air suite with Regal Wings is we offer group travel. So there are two options with this domestically and internationally, and I'll go over those in detail. The things that are different with group travel, it's a minimum of 10 people. It's a hard number too. It cannot go below this. The group has to travel on the same flights. There needs to be 10 people on the same flight going and 10 on the same flight returning. It doesn't matter if it's the same people. It's a number. But this is one thing where it gets a little tricky if clients want to divert, extend, so on and so forth. You really want to make sure clientele understand that the group airfare situations is truly that for groups. So I generally say the minimum is around 15 people for this. What we can do here with groups is we go down as well to the economy cabin. So it's economy, premium economy, business, and first class. So let's use that River Cruise example that I mentioned before. We can actually book feeder flights into the same international flight. So what does that mean? Let's say your clientele are from St. Louis, Chicago, and Denver. And there's a nonstop flight into Munich that they're all trying to meet up with in Chicago. We can book all those feeder flights into O'Hare and then have everybody go over on that same flight in the same context and the same processing piece for costs as well. It'll be disclosed to you what the cost of the airfare will be, what your markup potential is, what the 24/7 service will be for this as well. Everything with Regal Wings that you would have previously is also included in the group sector too. Advantages of working with us in the group environment is we could take multiple credit card payments. So it's a unique piece that way rather than dealing with the airline directly. We will be able to be your concierge service for that. We also will find you the best cost airfares as well too. Something to keep in mind with group air, it will always be more expensive on paper than purchasing individually FIT trips. Just because if you're looking at booking 15 tickets at the same time, the airline has to offset their bell curve increase from the profitability sector. Just because they're selling 15 tickets at once rather than 1, 3, 4, 5, they have to make sure that they're recouping their money that way. One thing as well, we do offer deposit. You can put deposits down on group airfare and then pay at a later date. So if clients are budget conscious, it actually is a little bit more of an advantage as they can pay as they go. One thing to keep in mind with this too, we can do this domestically. So I mentioned I live in Seattle. So let's say if you have clients going on an Alaska cruise, we can set up group airfare from one destination into Seattle and then back as well. So if they're all clients living in the same general area, we can do that. Fantastic for group weddings into the Caribbean, into Mexico, into Hawaii. And I'll follow up with further information on that as well too. And the last piece of our airline suite overall, we do offer private jet charter. So private jets, you see this G500 up here. We can offer amazing services internationally from, let's say, LAX to Paris for the Olympics, which we did a few times. But you can get kind of creative with this. So I went to college about 5 hours away in Eastern Washington at Washington State University. And for my friends and I who are alumni, we do like to go back for a college football game or basketball or so on and so forth. The one issue with that, it's a 5-hour drive. It's over a mountain pass. So in the wintertime, it can be rather treacherous. And it's a really remote destination. So the lodging is actually extremely expensive and very few and far between. So we've actually looked into chartering a plane from Boeing Field into Pullman Regional Airport. That's less expensive than booking hotel rooms, flights, hotel rooms, gas, et cetera, that way. So it's a unique piece that way as well. We'll be your leasing agent, your brokerage as well. So once you email us, we will look through all of our contracts, all the private jet operators to see what the best option is for your clients that way. Places that are unique with this are the Greek Isles, our South Pacific, are pieces of that nature that can kind of afford an island hop rather than taking a long ferry ride. We also can find the best solutions for your clientele. So we had a group going from Martha's Vineyard to Bend, Oregon earlier this summer. And going through Martha's Vineyard, getting anywhere, you've got to take a ferry, then drive up to Logan International. So it's challenging in terms of time. So the clientele said, we really don't want to refuel. What's the best option for us? So they could have taken a smaller plane, refueled twice on the way getting across the country because the runway was small from Martha's Vineyard, or take a smaller plane into Logan and take a larger plane into Bend, which saves them about $15,000. We can set this up in a gross environment, net environment, all the catering and so on and so forth. That's included that way. If you do have any questions, follow up with me there. And then I mentioned our quick commission payouts are 48 to 72 hours after, paid directly to you. And yeah, so I know that we have some questions in the chat box here, and we'll kind of go over those. But Sheila, anything on your end?
No, I was just gonna go through the questions, and I just want to know, do you get to fly on the jets with your clients?
I don't even get to fly business class, so
Oh,
no,
gosh.
I'm flying a coach, but I'm going flying for work. So getting on a private jet, you can talk to my owners about that.
All right, so our first question is from Jen. How do we know what amenities are and are not included in the airfare you're quoting? For example, Emirates Lounge, Black Car.
Yeah, so all of that will be disclosed in the class of service that's being booked. The airline, the reservation agent will go over all of that. Obviously, depending on what airline you're going on, the amenities and so on and so forth, that'll be included to you. So obviously the basics here with business, you're looking at lounge access, et cetera, that way. Once you start getting into the first class realm and the suites on board, that's where it kind of gets a little bit more, that gets different. We have detailed information on every single one of our airline partners of what class of service offers what. For example, let's say you're flying Lufthansa, you would then be directed to go to the first class terminal rather than checking in normally through business if you're looking at booking that way as well.
Okay, did the one screen with the phones imply that there is a Regal Wings app that can be downloaded?
So we're working on that. Not yet. So I've gotten that question before, and I've kind of mentioned to our IT services that we need to make sure that's communicated better. That was just kind of showing how it would look like from a mobile phone. You can book us that way. That was kind of what was being shown that way. We are working on further technology to be released mid Q1, Q2 of next year that will also enhance our Air Suite as well.
Quite frankly, I like it just to be mobile responsive because sometimes when you download these apps, you don't know if the app is being updated along with the what I call a web application. But thanks for answering that. Appreciate it. Oh, I got to put my glasses back on. I can't read anything without my glasses. Okay, from Jen, whenever she's gotten quotes back from Regal Wings, it has automatically had a commission amount included, not net. Can she request to get net and published so she can choose how much she would like to make? I can actually answer that, but I'm going to let you because
Sheila, go ahead.
that's the way I've always requested it. I want to know net and I want to know the published fare.
Exactly. So basically what you see there, Jen, is it'll show Regal Wings net and then the published fares right next to each other as well on most quotes. But if you wanted to see the detailed information, we can set that up for you too, no problem.
Yeah, it's always shocking how much, you can actually mark up some of that air and still be under that published fare for your clients. So I always loved receiving that. So Jen wants to know if private charters need to be round trip.
They don't. So that's one of the advantages of working with us with our concierge service, with our contracts as well. We really dig into those one-way charter offers. Obviously the charter industry is very different than commercial air, where your booking window generally is about 3 months to 24 hours prior, just because the jet operators need to know where their jets are going, how they can maximize where they're going to be returning from. Sometimes there is a one-way fee, but we try and do everything we can to avoid that. It's something that'll be disclosed to you once you reach out to us that way too.
Great. I think that's all the questions that we have. Anybody else have any questions for Chaz? All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I just love your product. I love what you guys do. I love the fact that I can email your folks and not have to get on the phone if I don't want to. It saves me so much time. And the quick turnaround is awesome. So if you guys have not used Regal Wings, I really encourage you to do so. They've always been my preferred consolidator, especially when I was really actively booking travel for my clients. So give them a shot and see how you like working with them. Thanks so much, Chaz, for being here today.
Absolutely, Sheila, and we appreciate the partnership. And B, you're having issues with your account, just send me a quick email. We can get you worked out there. But yeah, everybody, as I mentioned, we're a service here for travel advisors. We're a unique, we're unique to the industry as well in terms of trying to make sure that you're taken care of in totality. So my only request is give us a shot. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. We're not. It's one of the things you want to find the best supplier for everybody, and hopefully we can be your go-to air partner moving forward.
Great. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great afternoon.